So here we have the iteration of all the questions and rendering them as either true, false, or multiple choice. And as folks answer their questions, right, they are going to be populating the answer field of each one of the questions. Once all those are populated, we're ready to submit that quiz over to the server. And here we're going to add, at the bottom, we're going to add a button, right, that's going to allow us to submit the quiz, right? So let's see how that renders. Okay, so notice that down below now we have a submit quiz, and that submit quiz, what's going to do, right, is that in the quiz component, right, we're going to have that function. The function. So what do we want to do? So basically what we want to do is that, here are the original questions that we went to fetch from the server, right, and that we populated locally. Well, that question has the options, the questions, it has the correct answer, the correct answers is there. But now it has an additional field that was not populated from the server, right? That didn't come through the server. Instead, it's going to have a brand new field, answer field, right? That we are populating from each one of the components. Yes. So we have that array of questions that have now these questions have all the answers. We want to send it over to the server, right? So let's take a look at our cheat sheet and our submission to submit, right? We're just going to post to that endpoint that we defined earlier, right? So let's do that. All right, if you remember in Node.js, right? In Node.js we had defined this endpoint, right? Quizzes, the quiz ID, and the attempts as a post, right? I think here's the implementation. There it is, right? It's this one, submit quiz. It's API, quizzes, quiz ID, and attempts. So API, quizzes, quiz ID, and attempts. So we're going to post there, and we're going to send the questions. That's the entire array of all the questions that we had originally fetched from the server, right? We're going to send it over, but now it's going to have the answers. It's going to come back, the results. We're going to ignore it. We don't really need it. We might maybe decide to navigate away from the quizzes, from that particular quiz, right, and then go back to the list of all the quizzes. Maybe that's what we want to do. All right, so let's try it out. Let's see if this blows up. Let's come in here and I don't know. Let's see what happens. Let's open up the inspector. Maybe let's put it on the right-hand side. And let's see what we're sending over the fence here. Let's look at the network. Let's see if we get any errors. So we say, oh, you know what? We don't have a button to set the answer. All right, so we'll need to do that first, right? Let's see. In the true false, if you remember, there's a submit answer, right? That we're not using. So let's go in here and let's put a button here. Let's see, down below we'll have a button. Okay, and we'll say that on click, we're going to call submit answer. This we'll call this submit answer. And we'll need that in each one of the types of questions. Not only on the true false, but also on the multiple choice. Oops. So let's go in there. So there's our submit answer. So we're going to add the button at the bottom here. Right, there it is. And maybe put some breakage here. Probably we'll need it also on the true false. We need a break. I think we already had a break here. So let's see how this renders. There's our submit answer. Okay, so we're gonna click on yes, submit my answer, and then yellow, submit my answer, and then let's do a submit. So when we submit, okay, notice that it went out, the attempts. Let's see what we submitted. Let's look at the body of the submit. We submit, notice it's an array of both questions, question 1 and question 2, perfect. We have okay, this was a true, false, or no options. And the correct answer was the right answer, right? And I passed in, the correct answer was blue, but the answer was yellow. So notice that it came back, actually. It actually came back from the server. So this is very promising. This suggests that we were able to store this in the server. It's coming back with the score. There it is. Notice that even the scoring worked, right? Because I answered one of them correct, but the other one did not. So I got a 50. That's not too bad. And notice I have a reference to the original quiz, but I have a copy that I've inserted in the database, right, of the answers that I selected, right? If we go to the database, we should be able to see, right, that before, right, we only had 2 collections, right? But now we have the quiz attempts collection that was not there before. Let's take a look at that, what's in there. We could say db.quiz attempts find pretty. And there it is, right? So we have one single attempt. We know that it was for this quiz, and these are the original questions with the original answers. Again, that the original questions did not have this answer, right? It was empty. But now this we do, right? And again, you could make the argument that these quizzes are already these questions are actually already stored in a different collection, and why are we copying it? Isn't that redundant? Again, you want to, for our particular use case, right, we want to be able to keep track of the answer to the original question, that when the students saw this, irrespective on whether this quiz or these questions are going to change over time, right? I want to have an audit of what you actually answer to the actual question, right? So there it is. It looks like it's working.